Welcome back, guys. Mystery Motors here. We just picked this thing up yesterday. Heck of a deal, free on the side of the road, so can't really beat it. It's a Toro recycler, looks like a newer model, 7.25. Yeah, new model. It's got the, the Just Add Oil engine, which it says it's somewhere. It might be over here. There we go. Ready start, no prime, no choke, and just add oil. So the tank looks super clean. Wheels look brand new. I think this thing's gonna look like a new mower once we get this cleaned up. I did try and start it. It will start. It didn't have gas in it when I got it, which is always nice to see in most cases, but added a splash of gas, gave it a few good pulls, and it did fire up. So it does run, but these motors, I mean, they should start with like the smallest little pull. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to check the oil, probably drain the oil, change the oil, and then give this thing a good carb clean. And I think we'll have a brand new mower, So this is perfect. And this, it's always fun to fix things, but I mean, this mower looks brand new. This thing can't be more than, probably 5 to 7 years old, so logistically, I mean, you're kind of saving the world if you're fixing these old mowers here. So, because just, yeah, I mean, having to manufacture a new mower every 5 to 7 years, just keep the one you have running, you'll be good to go. So follow this video and maybe you'll be able to keep your mower running a little longer than than anticipated. So if you run into an issue where you pull it out and it won't start, this is probably a good video to watch. So let's dig in. Let's see how we're looking here. I just moved it out. I just pulled it out, so I did kind of have it, pulled up. I guess we'll wipe that off now that it's settled. Okay, so if you can see that there, it's kind of tough to tell, but it looks like we are a little bit above that line there. So yeah, I don't think I mentioned it when I did start it. At least the last time I attempted to start it, it did spit out a little bit of white smoke. So that kind of tells me that it's very common on these where they just tell you to add the oil. Maybe someone added too much oil and we're getting oil past the cylinder, into the cylinder, and it's burning off and showing up as white smoke. So I think if we get the oil level at the right level, we should be able to avoid any sort of white smoke. Alright, so those two outside are 8 and the inside are 7. One of the few times you're going to use a 7 mil, which is super small. So when you pull this off, you have this little breather. I think it's like a crankcase ventilation tube. Fits over that for when you reinstall it, but otherwise it only goes on one way. There's no gasket here. There's a little O-ring that comes, set into the carb. Yeah, which these carbs are plastic, so I always do this. Pull that airbox off first, and then realize that it's going to be much easier just to pull the whole recoil top off. So a lot of times there'll be Phillips heads on this one that's a little one of those things, little hex screw. It looks like there's just 2 of them, and then probably some like a retaining clip up front that the front of this cover just seats into. So bit. There we go. Maybe. Prove me wrong. Or you know what? Yeah, that kind of sucks. I think, I don't know if it's a clip or an actual. Alright. It is a clip. That's good. I was about to pop a hole in the front of that sticker. Here we are. So this carb essentially just slides right on there. So if I remember correctly, there's like a little, just a little kind of nipple there, little gasket, and it just kind of seats right over top. So the biggest issue here in getting this off is the fuel line right there, and these, you know, the springs and everything else. Some of these springs can stay, but we're gonna have to work these little throttle arms off. All right, so glass is on. We are going to remove this if we can. This is one of the funky ones. From the side there. Hopefully see how much fuel we put in this thing. You know what? I think I've used this before on these. There we go. Oy, oy, oy. We'll save that. Hopefully it doesn't fill this thing up to the top. Okay, we'll leave that there. And we are kind of getting up to the top, aren't we? We'll bring this up. There we go, old school. Still dripping a little bit. Alright, so got that figured out there. We got our little plugged up Allen wrench situation here. So all we have to do on this now, there are these two rods that we need to remove. One controls the choke, and the other controls the throttle here. So only need to remove these two. There's this spring there, but that is basically isolated on the carb, so we won't need to mess with that. So let's weasel this thing off here. So as mentioned, there's kind of a little nipple there, and then an O-ring, which that's the O-ring. Typically it stays on there, but this one just popped off. And once it's off, you can see the carb will start to tilt. Typically I found it's easiest to pop that choke, which is this long one runs across here. I'll show you that choke mechanism here in a second. And then the second one here. So yeah, some gas will spill out from the, you know, when you do it. But throttle is gonna hook right here. Choke is gonna hook right here. Pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. These cars, I mean, they make it so easy nowadays. I mean, you know, not that it was hard back when these were metal, but yeah, I mean, this is a totally plastic carb. So that's kind of how all new small lawnmower motors are now. So kind of wild, but I mean, you know, plastic won't corrode, so I guess it's not really too crazy of an idea. But looks like 2 7 or 8s here. I'm gonna say 7s. I'm gonna go with 7s on that. Let's see. What is this? That's a 7. I don't know if you can see it. Perfect. Rip those off. Very good. And these are going to look similar to the two that we removed earlier, but these are specific to the carb, so don't get those mixed up. Oh, there. Get out of there. You're going to want to get your flathead, and then somewhere on this thing, you're going to, yeah, about right here, you're just going to find yourself a little leverage. Slowly pry this off. Ooh, maybe not so slowly, but yeah, that's what we have. I mean, this looks clean. Again, it's all plastic, you know, so we'll clean this up real good. The bowls, they have instead of a gasket, it's kind of an O-ring that goes around. But yeah, one of the things I kind of like, it's kind of easier on these, is the rod that holds in the float. It snaps in instead of, you know, having to kind of feed it through. You can just get a little leverage, pop that right out. And be careful as well, because you're going to have your needle, which that looks pretty good. Pretty clean needle. Nothing in that float, not that there really should. I mean, it's plastic, you know, unless the adhesive fails. I guess that's the benefit of plastic, is just no corrosion. And then let's see, this, I don't even know what you would want to call this, emulsifier, jet, you know, what have you. But actually, now that I'm remembering it, we'll keep on with the leverage here. So with this, just get up underneath that and then just work it out. Again, little O-ring around this piece, and this is where we kind of start to see a little bit of that. This may be a little bit of that gunking up. Just a little discolored, not really gunked up per se. But I mean, it does look like there is a little bit of some stuff in there. So, but yeah, compressed air, little carb cleaner, or brake clean. I use either or really. But let's see. Go ahead and start shooting. I typically like to go around each orifice. Get them with a little cleaner, and then come back with some compressed air. Yeah, that compressed air I think is the biggest thing. I mean, the cleaner will help obviously kind of break down any buildup, so on and so forth, but ultimately I think it's that compressed air shooting through that's really gonna bring you home. can see that little, do that pilot shed. It looks pretty clear. We got this all cleaned out. This looks great, all dry. You want to make sure that it is fully dry, especially, you know, if you're using these harsher chemicals, you know, with this being plastic and so on and so forth. That Carb Clean's designed for metals. Just press these back in. Just gonna kind of clip back in there. Perfect. To shoot this with any brake clean per se. We'll just use a little bit of that gas on there to clean off the needle. It's got that rubber tip, you know, so you really don't want to use anything too crazy on that. And then when you go to put these back together, it's got the classic kind of T style, and it just fits right in that little groove there. And then you will need to feed your rod back through the gasket, or not the gasket, the float bowl, and then you're going to feed your needle, I don't know if you can see that from the top, into the into that little fill valve there, and then just clip it in. And now we're working. Very nice, guys. Put this back on there. This, you know, just line it up. Back on. Let's see, I don't know. I don't think that needs to go on a certain way, but maybe it does, to clear that bottom of the jet. There we go. So just, yeah, press that in all the way around, and then really all those screws do is just kind of hold it on. So got our two 7 mils. Alright, so we are all clean here. This looks great, ready to go back on. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I suspect it's gonna fire up first pull, but I like to be optimistic. So I know I mentioned earlier that we have this white O-ring, but it actually looks like we have, what snaps in? We have 2 O-rings. So there's a rubber O-ring that sits in there, and then this, it's almost like a plastic retaining clip of sorts, but yeah, very nice. Let's get this back on. Okay. So first things first, I think we're gonna put the throttle linkage on, nice and easy, and then let me see, and then this one here, which this is, like I said, the choke. This kind of works off a little bit of a little diaphragm that will open up as the motor warms up. So there's a little mechanism over there. As it gets hot, it kind of releases and it opens this valve like so. So we're gonna pop this off, put our fuel line back on without making a huge mess. That's a BP level mess there. All right, let's see. We're good now. No harm, no foul. All right, well, slide that back on there. Boom. And then basically this piece is going to just slide right on that nipple there. Make sure you're not hung up on anything, but yeah, we should just work ourselves on like so, and we are on there. So from here, I mean, it should fire right up. So let's go ahead, we'll throw the recoil back on, and then we will see what it does. Alright, so as mentioned, there's that clip in the front, which it just popped right on. Perfect. It was meant to be. And I think we left a screw in the case here, so we should have one ready to go. Let's see. There we go. There it is. Let's see what it does. So that one's great. That's funny. Yeah, I thought that this was bent, like one of the wheels was bent, but it looks like it was just off the height. So it fires right up. I mean, you know, once we got the fuel kind of primed to the system there, one pull, I mean a light pull, as soon as it turns over, it fires up. That's what's really fun about these, you know, kind of easy start motors, is that, you know, if the carb's clean, that thing's gonna start really easily. So super nice. Let's see if we can get one of those first person pulls here, nice and easy. That's just too easy. Super nice. All right, guys, well, let's get this cleaned up. We'll get the oil changed, check out that blade. Otherwise, I think this thing's ready for a couple more years of some heavy duty. All right, let's get this breather back on. So remember, there's this kind of tube you almost want to try and feed on there. In fact, you might be able to do that after the fact. Maybe not. That's kind of a pain. Let's see. So this is something that Would have been easier had I left that recoil off, but I think we got it. I think we got it, guys. Yep, we are on there. All right. So these small ones are, nope, actually, these small ones have more of a, it's like an actual thread. So the, you know, the outside ones, they have a little nut that they feed through, and the inside ones look like they're just using the plastic to kind of grip onto, almost like a wood screw or something, you know, non-threaded like these outside. So the outside screws hold the they hold it on, and then the inside screws kind of pull it to the carb. So and then really we're going to be selling this, so I think we'll go ahead and swap out this this filter as well. I mean, it's not really a bad looking filter, to be honest, but you know, we'll throw it back on just for the meantime, for the cleaning. Alright, just checking ad. Here it is, cleaned up, carbs clean. I'd say this thing looks like a new mower. I mean, it's wet, but still that paint is like, there's hardly any corrosion. It's just little stuff around the, you know, where it typically gathers, but I mean, like around the wheels, the insides of the wheels are super clean still. I mean, the front, you know, it's front wheel drive, and these really aren't all that worn. So it's a smart stow, super clean. I mean, look at the hardware. Look at the hardware on that, if it'll focus. That's like brand new. Like this, typically those are always gunked up, looking nasty. So, super nice. Let's see what that blade looks like. So this is what we got. I mean, that looks still actually pretty sharp. That looks pretty decent. I mean, the belt looks good. I mean, that looks pretty clean, all things considered. It's not super gunked up. So, you know, whoever had this before was, I would say, using it lightly. You know, taking decent care of it. Well, I say taking decent care. I mean, it was an easy fix. So I don't know. Yeah. Definitely kept in the garage, put up, put away. Yeah. So I don't know if we will mess with this blade because it still looks halfway decent. So I think we'll keep this one on the cheap side, not pull that off. change the oil, level that out, and see how it cuts. Alright, you already know. I'm going to give her the old tilt-a-roo. Yeah, these mowers, I mean, in general, most of these mowers are going to be easiest way to change the oil is just going to be dumping it over. Hopefully not making a mess about it. Yeah, even with dumping it over, I mean, it's kind of hearsay if you're going to get all the fluid out. It looks like it's coming out pretty decent, so we'll change as much as we can, get it at a good level, and you know, see what happens here. Just like that. And then we'll look up what this holds. Typically, I think on average it could be anywhere from like 16 to 20 ounces of fluid is what these will hold. So I think 18 is kind of a good round number from what I was looking up. But we'll see. We'll look it up for the specific motor and put that in it. Just kind of see from the top side how clean this thing is, like especially the stickers. Typically them stickers are just destroyed, you know, blown off. So this is a very lightly used machine for sure. Alright, so looking it up, it says 15 mLs, or 15 ounces rather. mLs would be pretty, not much. Alright, so we've got just over 15 in this bottle. So we'll fill it to about 13 and see roughly kind of where we're sitting at, assuming we're not able to get all of the fluid out, all of the oil out. So we let it settle for a little bit, but let's just see if we can, if it's even. Okay. So it's like right at the bottom of the dipstick, so that's kind of perfect. So maybe we were able to get most of that oil out. So if you can see, just the tip of that has oil on it right there. I don't know if that's in focus or not, but so that's perfect. I think we'll add another ounce or so. That way we're right on the money. And I think we'll be good to go with this. Fresh oil change. And the oil looks pretty good. To be honest, looking at it, it maybe looks like there's, I don't know, some water in it. It's not really separated, it's just kind of a little cloudy. So maybe this is like the original oil. I would assume it probably is, given how clean this mower is altogether. And I don't really see any stickers from like any service shops. Typically, if you have your mower serviced, they'll slap a sticker on there. So yeah, I'd have to look it up and see roughly how old this this model is. But I mean, this is definitely a newer motor. Probably since at least since 2018, I'd say. Transfer our oil over. I typically like to run these. Yeah, I mean, it still kind of looks golden. Maybe that's what I was seeing. It's just such clean oil. It just kind of looks a little, I just expect it to be black, I guess. But yeah, after getting these mowers, you know, kind of sorted out, not that this one needed a ton, typically like to run them at least a mower or two. I've got a decent sized yard, so for these little push mowers, it's a pretty good test. We are, looks like right on the money. That's like perfect, right where you want it to be. Let's say we're good there. Here's my transfer jug. Cool, guys. And this, you know, I just put in that Fram SE30 lawnmower oil, pretty much. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but 15 ounces. 15 ounces of fluid for this. You know, even though it says just add oil, you know, never change oil, always change your oil. That's I don't even know how they're able to say that, you know, without like a quotations. You know, if you don't change your oil, it could lead to, you know, the engine dying sooner than it should. That's great. Literally runs like a new mower. Feels like a new mower, really. Super solid. Clean. A little dusty now. Awesome, guys. Little side of the road fine, destined for the garbage, is ready for another probably decade of service. This thing, you take care of them, man, they'll get you there. But hopefully you learned something. Hopefully, you know, gave you enough to maybe get the mower that's sitting in your garage not wanting to start, you know, enough info to maybe get that running. But it's pretty straightforward. As long as you have fuel, air, and spark, it should run. Well, fuel compression and spark rather. So, but yeah, if you enjoyed this, you know, like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.